They never told you the truth. Not in school, not in the textbooks, not in the tidy little plans they handed out like scripts at a casting call for a life that never felt like your own. They told you to chase money, to chase grades, to chase titles, to chase approval. But no one stopped and looked you in the eye and said the words that could have changed everything. Wealth is not about money. It's about mindset. Because money, that's just the echo. It's the shadow of something much deeper. It's the byproduct of internal architecture, forged not in your wallet, but in your will. They taught you how to add and subtract, but not how to multiply belief. They taught you history, but not how to make your own. They drilled facts into your memory, but they starved your imagination. They praised conformity and punished fire. And so here you are, not broken, not lost, but unfinished, undiscovered, standing on the edge of who you were and who you must become. Let me tell you something they'll never print in a textbook. The greatest fortunes ever built did not begin with capital. They began with clarity. They began with vision. They began with a refusal to bow to the limits others tried to place on the human mind. Think of Edison, with over 1,000 failures behind him and the world still waiting for light. Think of Carnegie, a poor immigrant boy who dreamed beyond steel and smoke into empires. Think of Disney, who was told he lacked imagination. Or Lincoln, with less than a year of formal schooling, who carried a fractured nation on his back. What did they know that the world around them didn't? That wealth is created first in the unseen, in the inner kingdom of thought, belief, and unwavering purpose. You want wealth, don't chase the dollar. Chase the version of you who's unstoppable. Chase the clarity that cuts through noise like lightning splits the sky. Because here's the truth, money is made by minds that refuse to think in terms of limits. And most people have been trained, conditioned, sedated to think in terms of lack. You weren't born average, but you were taught to think average. You were taught to fear risk, to worship safety, to wait for permission, and the more you obeyed. But deep down, something never died, a spark, a pull. That whisper that says, this isn't all there is. That whisper, it's your original mind, before it was shaped by systems that didn't care about your greatness. That mind holds the blueprint to a life so staggering, so powerful, so magnetic, it scares you just to imagine it. But that imagination, that's where it starts, because everything you see, every skyscraper, every invention, every fortune, every legacy, it all started in someone's mind, someone who had the audacity to believe. So let's talk belief, not the soft, abstract kind they throw around like confetti in self-help slogans. I'm talking about conviction, the kind of belief that bends the world around it, the kind that kept Nelson Mandela alive in a prison cell for 27 years, the kind that had Henry Ford looking at a world of horses and seeing factories filled with cars. That belief wasn't logical, it wasn't realistic, but it was unshakable, and until your belief reaches that level, until it hardens into certainty, the world will test you, mock you, resist you. It'll push you to retreat, to give up, to settle. You can't let it. You can't outsource your destiny to a system built to keep you tame. You can't sit quietly in the waiting room of your own life hoping someone calls your name, because wealth, true wealth, doesn't wait. It doesn't ask for permission. It is summoned by fire. And fire lives inside those who believe before the world gives them a reason to. Let me make this clear. Your outer world is the reflection of your inner world. You'll never out-earn your identity. You'll never outperform your self-concept. If you see yourself as broke, weak, small, unworthy, you will sabotage every opportunity that comes near you. Not because you aren't capable, but because your mind won't let you have what you don't believe you deserve. Change your mind, and your world begins to bend. That's why clarity is so rare, because it requires stillness in a world that profits off your distraction. Most people are drowning in noise, drowning in comparison, drowning in opinions that don't belong to them. Clarity doesn't come from scrolling, it comes from silence, from going to war with your own excuses, from sitting in a room with your doubts and saying, I see you, I hear you, but I will not obey you. You need vision, not wishes, not vague goals. Vision is the seed of power, the weapon of the elite, the fire that cuts through fog. Vision isn't just what you want, it's what you've decided. It's the image you hold in your mind so clearly, so vividly, that reality starts to bend in its direction. You walk differently when you carry a vision. You speak differently. You move with intent. You stop chasing things that don't align, because the mission matters more than the moment. Purpose ignites it. If vision is the compass, purpose is the fuel. Purpose is what wakes you up when motivation dies. It's what keeps you going when no one's watching, when it hurts, when you're scared out of your mind. And let me tell you something. If your purpose is only about money, you'll fold. Because money's not enough. Not when the storm comes. Not when you get knocked to your knees. You need a reason that makes you unbreakable. You need something to die for, so you finally start living. And that's what school never taught you. They never told you that discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. That clarity isn't luxury, it's survival. That belief isn't a nice idea, it's the gateway to everything. They trained you to memorize answers. But life doesn't care about answers. Life rewards those who ask better questions, who stare into the unknown and walk anyway, who choose to become something the world hasn't seen before. Let's talk about discipline, the forge where mindsets are made real. Discipline is not about waking up early, it's about waking up on fire. It's about doing what you said you'd do, long after the mood has left you. It's about building habits so strong they carry you through the war inside your own head. You think Carnegie waited for motivation. You think Oprah became who she is because she felt good every morning. No. They built rituals, they built systems, they designed environments where their greatness wasn't optional, it was inevitable. Discipline is what turns chaos into creation, what turns potential into legacy. You are not lazy, you are just uninspired, misaligned, and the moment you align your vision, your belief, your purpose, discipline becomes desire, effort becomes sacred, work becomes worship, and now we act, because none of this means anything if it stays in your head. Dreams rot without execution, ideas die without oxygen. The greatest tragedy isn't failure, it's hesitation. It's the moments you didn't move, the calls you didn't make, the art you didn't create, the risks you didn't take. The graveyard is full of unused genius. But not yours, not if you choose otherwise. You were not born to be average. You were born to build, to bend the world with your bare hands, to take raw thought and hammer it into form. You were born to take action, bold, relentless, unreasonable action, the kind that wakes the world up and says, I'm not here to fit in. I'm here to shift the ground you walk on. But action without gratitude is hollow. It burns fast and leaves nothing but ash. Because when you forget how far you've come, you lose the fire that made you move in the first place. Gratitude, real embodied gratitude, isn't soft. It's power. It's the anchor in chaos, the perspective in pressure, the fuel that reminds you. You are already rich in lessons, in scars, in breath. And from that foundation, you build more. You don't act from lack. You act from overflow. Because abundance isn't a number. It's a state of mind. Understand this: wealth is never about accumulation. It's about circulation. It's energy. It moves. It flows to those who know how to hold it without fear, to give it without guilt, to multiply it without apology. Gratitude is what keeps you in that flow. It strips away entitlement and grounds you in truth. Look around, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. Every challenge, that was your training. Every heartbreak, that was your initiation. Every setback, that was your call to rise. Without those moments, you wouldn't have the strength you do now. And if you can be grateful for the pain, the world can't shake you, because you've already made peace with the fire. Now let's talk about the one thing no one plans for: adaptability. You can have the clearest vision, the deepest purpose, the strongest discipline, but if you can't adapt, you'll be broken by the winds of change. Every empire falls when it stops evolving. But you must stay fluid, like water. Water doesn't resist the rock, it reshapes it. Water doesn't panic in a storm, it becomes the storm. And in this world, the rigid shatter. But the adaptable, they rise, they rebuild. They find a way where there was none. You will be tested, plans will collapse, markets will shift, people will leave, and you'll have a choice of shrink or shape, shift, fall or flex. Die in your old identity or be reborn in the fire of reinvention. That's why your mindset is everything. It's not just about thinking positive. It's about knowing who you are when everything goes wrong, when no one claps, when your bank account is empty, when your dream looks a million miles away. That's when most people quit, but not you, because your wealth, the true wealth, lives in your resilience. Resilience is not a trait. It's a decision, a contract you sign with yourself. No matter what, I rise. Not once, not twice, every time. Thomas Edison once said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's not resilience. That's obsession. That's belief beyond logic, and that's what it takes. Because greatness isn't built in moments of ease. It's built in the unseen hours, the lonely nights, the internal wars. And you either become the architect of your adversity, or it becomes the architect of you. And in those battles, there is one weapon that never dulls learning. Most stop learning after school. They think the diploma is the finish line. They think education ends in a classroom. But the ultra-wealthy, the high performers, the masters, they never stop learning. Because learning isn't academic, it's adaptive. It's the humility to know you don't know enough. It's the hunger to grow. It's reading what others won't, listening when others talk, observing what others ignore. It's asking, what can this moment teach me? Especially the hard ones, especially the losses, especially the times you feel like quitting. Every moment holds a lesson, and if you extract that wisdom, you become dangerous. You stop repeating the same cycles. You start seeing patterns. You gain leverage not over others, but over yourself. And that, right there, is the ultimate wealth, self-mastery. Not the car, not the watch, not the house, you. Because when you master your mind, nothing owns you. Not fear, not failure, not opinion, not even success. You become untouchable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Understand this life will never reward you more than you're willing to grow. Your mindset is the gatekeeper of your destiny. And no, you weren't taught this. You weren't meant to be. The system never wanted you to know how powerful you are. Because a person who masters their mindset, they don't ask for permission. They don't wait to be chosen. They don't conform, they create, they build, they rise, they disrupt. They become the ones who write the history others study. And the truth is, you were never meant to be a chapter in someone else's story. You were meant to be the author of your own. So let the world call you crazy. Let them mock your discipline, question your belief, laugh at your vision. One day they'll ask how you did it, and you'll smile, not because they were wrong, but because you didn't need them to believe. You believed, you changed your mind. You rewrote your code. You unlearned what no longer served you. And you remembered who you were before the world taught you fear. And now there is no going back. There is only forward. Because this is the truth about wealth they never taught you. It's not about the money. It never was. It's about the mind that creates it, the fire that fuels it, the clarity that sustains it, the purpose that guides it, the resilience that rebuilds it, the action that expands it, the gratitude that receives it, the adaptability that protects it, the learning that multiplies it, the mindset that births it. And that mindset, it's no longer a secret. It's no longer hidden behind gates or guarded by systems. It's yours if you choose it. So now ask yourself not, how do I get rich? Ask, who must I become to never be poor again? Who must I become to never be poor again? Not poor in money. That's the symptom. I'm talking about the deeper poverty. Poverty of belief. Poverty of vision. Poverty of purpose. The poverty that sits quietly behind a smile, behind a job title, behind the things we pretend are enough, but never are. You don't fix that kind of poverty by working harder. You don't cure it with hustle alone. You conquer it by becoming the kind of person who refuses to live one more day asleep at the wheel of their own life. This is where it turns. This is where it transforms, because wealth, real, lasting, soul-deep wealth is born the moment you take full responsibility, not just for what happens to you, but for who you are in response to it, for the thoughts you feed, the choices you make, the vision you protect. You are not a victim of your past. You are not the echo of your parents' fears. You are not the product of your environment unless you choose to be. You are a force of nature, and your mindset is the command center of that force. You either run it or it runs you, so decide now. No more excuses. No more someday. No more blaming systems, schools, or silence. The truth is, no one's coming to save you, because no one was ever supposed to. You were meant to save yourself. That's the real story of every titan you admire. The heroes, the icons, the builders of worlds. They weren't born into greatness. They chose it again and again. Through pain, through failure, through fire, they made themselves. You have that power too. But you have to stop negotiating with weakness. You have to stop arguing for your limitations. Every time you say, I can't, you're casting a vote for a future that doesn't want you. Every time you settle for average, you delay the life that's waiting for you. You have to kill the old identity, the one that was programmed by fear, by comparison, by scarcity. You have to bury the version of you that needed validation to move, applause to act, permission to dream. Because wealth doesn't come to the hesitant, it comes to the bold. Not the loud, the bold, the ones who move in silence, who grind without praise, who work when it's boring, painful, lonely, because they are married to the mission, not the mood. The ones who don't chase comfort, they chase character, and character is wealth. Character is what builds when the bank account is low, when the results aren't there, when everything in you wants to quit, and you stay in the fight anyway. That's what compounds. That's what makes a person dangerous, because now you're not motivated by outcomes. You're anchored in identity. You're not chasing money. You're becoming someone who attracts it effortlessly, because the mindset is already rich. You walk into rooms differently when you know who you are. You don't shrink. You don't explain. You don't need to convince. You just be. That's wealth. That's power. And that's what school never taught you. They didn't teach you that self-image is destiny, that you will never outperform the story you believe about yourself, that no matter how many strategies you learn, if your identity is wired for struggle, you'll find a way to lose even when you win. But when you change the story, everything changes, not gradually, not over years. Immediately, The shift happens in a moment. The decision, the internal command. Enough. This ends with me. You declare war on mediocrity. You rise above your old standards. You walk with conviction even when no one understands, especially then, because legacy is lonely. And wealth, true wealth, it requires a season of isolation, a season where you outgrow everything that used to comfort you, the habits, the patterns, the people who don't speak the language of your future. You become rare. And yes, that will cost you. It will cost you the old you. But in return, you gain the world. You gain clarity so sharp it cuts through doubt like glass. You gain a sense of direction so magnetic it draws the right people, opportunities, and resources to your path, because wealth loves direction. It doesn't visit the uncertain. It doesn't knock on the doors of the indecisive. It goes where it's welcomed by minds prepared to receive it. Minds trained to multiply it, minds strong enough to keep it. And if you're not there yet, good, because now you know. Now you can begin, not with a bank loan, not with a mentor, not with some secret strategy. With yourself, with the decision to never think poor again, to never beg for scraps when you were born to build tables, to never chase crumbs of approval when you were born to command empires, to never dilute your voice just to fit into rooms that were never built for your greatness. Burn the blueprint they gave you, design your own. Let them call you crazy, obsessed, arrogant, unrealistic. Let them talk while you work, while you build, while you transform. Because the truth about wealth, it was never about numbers, it was about becoming. And once you become, they can't take it from you. You can lose everything and rebuild it all, because now you're the source. You are the value. You are the asset. And no one taught you that in school, but you're learning it now. This is the new education. This is the curriculum of freedom. You don't need a permission slip. You don't need a degree in confidence. You need courage, hunger, discipline, vision, and a mind so focused, so trained, so dangerous that nothing can pull you off the path. You are not here to survive. You are here to dominate your potential. You are not here to consume. You are here to create. You are not here to be rich. You are here to be wealth in thought, in spirit, in presence. So here is the truth about wealth that school never taught you. It is not about money. It is about mindset. And once you master that, there is nothing in this world you cannot become.